We're going to do one more session about the British TV industry, and this is about formats. So this is about programs where the idea can be exported and recreated in a local version around the world. And I told you earlier about those 6 or 7 well-funded channels that are competing to put money into new ideas. And an extraordinary thing has happened in the last 10 years in British television, which has happened at the same time as these 300 independent producers have started driving their businesses and selling their products abroad. And that thing is that the UK now has more than 50% of the worldwide trade in entertainment television formats. That's an extraordinary statistic for a small island. Now I want to find out a bit more about that, so I'm asking you please to welcome to the stage 3 people who each have a worldwide hit format. Please welcome Steve Morrison from All 3 Media, who's responsible for Undercover Boss. Please welcome Henrietta Conrad from Shine, responsible for Masterchef, and Matt Paice from BBC Worldwide, responsible for Dancing with the Stars. Thank you. There we go. And Steve is taking all his clothes off. That is a British television tradition.
I'm following.
Within reason. Excellent. Thank you. Steve, I'd like to start with you. And if you please give us just a sentence description of what the Undercover Boss format is, and then we'll watch a clip.
The boss of a large company goes out to the front line in disguise to see how the company really works there, and then he takes some of the people who he's observed back to the head office to congratulate them or fire them and change the practices of the company from what he's seen.
Okay, let's see a clip. Thank you.
Last season, CBS sent America's top bosses undercover.
I'm stepping down as the CEO.
I'm going to be going out into the operation, see what's really happening. All kinds of jobs that are important to this business.
The story of your life.
Something went down in my shoe. About the only thing I've welded to my foot.
This is the most difficult work of my entire life. I'm whipped.
Do you know anything about a horse?
Not very much.
He's a horse.
How do you think I'm doing?
Struggling very much so.
You remember me?
I'm the founder and CEO of the company.
You're who?
It's the story of your life.
You're amazing.
I don't know what to say.
We're gonna pay you to go to school.
Only in America might happen.
Now this fall,
You took everything that we taught you, you threw it out the window.
TV's #1 new show returns.
He didn't look like he was familiar with the controls at all. I almost fell off of it once or twice.
I don't like bananas.
You like banana cream pie?
No.
Banana bread?
No.
Did I say banana split?
With all new bosses.
I don't want my wife to see this. She might think I could do more things around the house.
New season of the Emmy-nominated Undercover Boss. Sundays this fall, only CBS.
Okay, so Steve, Channel 4 put the risk money into the first version of that, the hit television, and if Channel 4 hadn't done that, it probably wouldn't have been realized in the way it was. And it did okay, not brilliantly, but okay. How did it become a worldwide hit? How does it turn up after the Super Bowl on American television?
Well, Michael Morpurgo called it the catalyst, and the catalyst was they ordered 9 episodes, and they said, well, it might go out in
They being?
CBS.
Right.
It might go out in the autumn. It didn't. It might go out at Christmas. It didn't. So we were beginning to wonder whether they'd forgotten about it. And they said, we have a slot. It's going to come after the Super Bowl final.
Which is an audience of about 100 million?
Which is an audience of about 100 million, which each network only gets a chance to do once in every 4 years. So, of course, we said, well, why are you picking Undercover Boss? And it turned out they'd researched Undercover Boss, as all American networks do with the potential audience. The mood of the time was very anti-chief executive and anti-big business in America, and the audience appreciation was higher than any other program they were going to play. The women in CBS said to the boss, who is a man, we would like to play Undercover Boss after the Super Bowl final. He said, don't be silly, let's play one of our hits. And they said, well, why play one of our existing hits? Why not make a hit? And he didn't agree, but he let them do it. He said, that show will never work. And it got 38.6 million viewers, which was the largest ever reality show launch in America. And it all started as 2 episodes on Channel 4.
Now, having a hit in America then makes a difference. Give us a flavor of now how many countries it's sold to.
110.
That's the finished program, is watched in 110, and then the format is sold to how many territories,
It is
roughly?
made in 15 countries in different versions, of which we make 4. The British, the American, the Dutch, and the German.
Can you just give us a flavor of what it means for a country to buy a format and make their own local version? What's the process? Because they have to make it in their own cultural tone. It has to fit their own, the way their audiences are, so they're allowed to make changes. How does that work?
Well, this has actually changed much of global television. And as you said at the beginning, Britain is particularly good at this. If you tell a very good story, if you're a great storyteller, and it's embedded in the program as a format, they can take that storytelling idea and do it in their own language. Now, in certain countries, bosses are very shy about going on such programs, and it's very hard to persuade them to do it. Once they do it, of course, they all love it. Okay. So then it becomes a success.
And my last question to you flows from that. You say some bosses are shy to do it. You are the boss of the media conglomerate, all 3 media. Would you go undercover?
Well, if I could get the right disguise, definitely.
So that was a yes?
That was a yes.
We'll note that down as a yes. Let's move on now to our second format, thank you, Steve, which is Masterchef from Shine, Henrietta Conrad. Henrietta, again, would you give me a 2-sentence description of Masterchef?
Amateur cooks compete through a series of challenges and tasks to become a professional chef and achieve their dreams.
Achieve their dreams. Let's see a clip. Thank you.
We're looking for a great amateur cook who can make it as a professional. Cooking does not get tougher than this.
You are Australia's first Masterchef.
Toutes les 30 secondes, vous changez de recette. This is Masterchef. Are you guys hungry? Yeah!
Masterchef!
India Capella, Masterchef.
I wanted to share it with you today, but I didn't get on the plane.
Okay, so Henrietta, that tape says it was reborn in 2005. Could you just describe this? Because I think many British people in the room will remember a show on BBC One that was okay, didn't sell abroad, called MasterChef. Suddenly, there's this stonking worldwide hit. What happened in 2005?
In 2005, Shine, which is the company Liz Murdoch started, bought the rights from Frank Rodham, who had the rights and made it for the BBC in 1990 to 2001. And it started off as quite a small, stripped daytime show and did incredibly well, and from that grew to a primetime show. And then what happened was in 2009, as you will know, Big Brother was cancelled on Network 10 in Australia, and they had a lot of hours to fill. Fremantle then bought the rights to MasterChef and supersized it and made it a massive entertainment. They ordered 72 episodes. So it was completely reborn again, and that's what happened with it. It keeps getting reinvigorated reinterpreted.
So could you just say a bit more about that process? Because one of the interesting things about selling a TV format abroad is that every country it goes to are meant to obey the rules of the program and make the program as you tell them. But on the other hand, as Steve was pointing out, you add little nuances, new ideas, so it gathers value from every country it goes to. But in this case, dramatically.
Yeah, well, it's a very modular form. It's a very modular format. So it went from being a daytime show to a primetime show, and so it is quite an adaptable format. I mean, there's certain things that remain integral. You know, you have to use the logo. There's certain tests that everyone does, but at the same time, we're very respectful of people's cultural needs, and also we have a big international production unit that travels around all of the territories and helps all of the territories produce their own. We also have a Masterchef exchange where it's now made by 35 countries, and they all come to London to learn from each other.
Could you just say a bit more, something Steve referred to earlier, about the balance between selling finished programs and the format? You're doing both. Yeah. I think the finished program sales, the completed program sales, are probably from the English-speaking territories, but I'm guessing that's one business. Yeah. Selling the format is another business. How do those two things work, and how big are they in relation to that, the show?
Well, the format is made in 35 countries, and the finished program is sold in over 200, exactly the same amount of countries competing in the Olympics. But I'm not sure exactly how the economics break down.
Okay. And can I just ask you, you know, in Shine, you have a formats pipeline? You're planning how many format launches next year, do you expect? New shows you're getting on air?
Many.
Give me a flavour.
Around the world or in the UK?
Well, we were saying earlier that a lot of it starts in the UK.
Yes.
Is that how it works in your business?
Yes, in the UK, and now a bit in the US.
Yeah.
But in the UK, I think we'll probably have 20 program launches next year, I imagine.
Huge. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll come back in a minute and discuss what's led to this renaissance in formats in the UK in a minute. I want to move on to Matt Paice from BBC Worldwide. So, again, would you please give us in 2 or 3 sentences, for anybody who's been living on Mars for the last couple of years and has never seen Strictly Come Dancing, Dancing with the Stars, give us a 2-sentence description of the format.
Dancing with the Stars is a show where celebrities compete to become the best ballroom dancer as judged by our panel of judges and the viewers at home.
Very good. Let's see a clip. Okay, so just give us a flavour of the commercial success of that show. Created in-house at the BBC in about 2000 and...
Launched in 2004.
2004. Just give us a flavour now of the size of the business that's been built around that format.
We've sold it now into 43 territories as a format.
So that's being produced as an original format in 43 territories.
So, and this year alone, we've done 3 new territories. So the Lebanon, we just announced, so that's Lebanese celebrities, Lebanese judges, filmed in a Lebanese set in Beirut with Lebanese cameramen, everything Lebanese. Macedonia, Panama, I mean, we're doing absolutely everywhere. And then there's still, in the US, we're on it'll be season 15 this fall coming up. Season 13 in Poland we've done, season 12 in Australia just finished. So we've done, I think it's coming up to 200 local series, if you add up every territory, the number of series they've done. So phenomenal and just revenue generator for BBC Worldwide and the BBC, of course.
Okay, now it would be my observation that to have a hit in the States gives twice as much fuel to a format worldwide.
Yeah.
It's been a massive hit on ABC. The person who originally commissioned it
was sitting over there.
Was sitting over there, but she has modestly left the room. Andrea Wong, who originally commissioned it for ABC, was over there, I noticed.
Yeah.
So can you just give us a flavour of, what difference it makes to have a hit in America?
One of the reasons why the Americans will be on season 15 this fall is because they do 2 seasons every year, and they do 2 live shows every week as part of that. So the volume of the order is colossal. Even in the UK, although we have 2 shows for Strictly Come Dancing, they're both recorded on the same night. So that's one studio record. Whereas in America, you have 2 separate shows. And it's one of the biggest shows in American television. 19 million viewers isn't unusual. And when you have that, you have an enormously powerful offering to advertisers.
Can you just give us a flavour of the mechanics of a format deal? I don't mean the legal terms. I mean, how does a country that wants to buy a format find it? Where's your format's catalogue? Which markets do you go to? How does it work?
We attend all of them and we do our own. So we have a thing called Showcase, which is in February in this country. We do one in Rio in August. We do one in Beijing as well. And that's a dedicated market just for BBC Worldwide because of the volume of the programs and formats that we have to sell. And then we attend MIP and MIPCOM, and there's a format sales team under me, and that's their job, is to pitch. Because great formats don't come along that often. And we have a specialised team who have a special set of skills about selling formats. It's very different to selling a finished programme because it's a much bigger decision for the channel, tends to be, to commit to the massive expense of a production as opposed to the cheaper option of tape.
Let me ask you all for your take on how it is one country, the UK, comes to have more than half of the trade in entertainment formats in TV worldwide. How's that come about? Who wants to go first?
I talk to broadcasters all around the world, and the thing that strikes me about this market as being unusual, and there's a couple, the Netherlands, I would say, is similar to us, is the variety of channels and the variety of things that they're looking for. So if you're a young producer in this country trying to come up with the next big thing, you can't pitch the same idea to BBC One, ITV and Channel 4. You'd be laughed out of the room if you pitched the same idea. You have to think differently and laterally. BBC Two does a show about astronomy. Channel 4 does a show about mental illness. They're very, very different attitudes, and therefore that stretches.
The show about astronomy will be Dancing with the Stars.
Very good.
Thank you. Steve, you had a take on that?
Yeah. We've got a very large creative pool. A lot of factual producers, and our schedules are fuller of non-scripted than other countries. Our broadcasters are prepared to buy original ideas, which sounds pretty obvious, but actually most broadcasters aren't.
Yep.
They want things that have already been out somewhere else. We buy in short runs, which again sounds pretty banal, but if you buy in short runs of 6 episodes, you have to have a hell of a lot of series to fill up your schedule, which means that a lot of our new schedules every year are new programs. Whereas in America, they might put 2 or 3 new programs on a very crowded, small band of network time, and the rest of it carries on as before.
Henrietta?
I think it goes back even further, and we could see that in the opening ceremony on Friday. I think we have a culture of creativity and of innovation, of risk-taking that a lot of other nations just don't. And I also think back to your point about short runs. 30,000, it's an incredible statistic. I had to double check it that it was right. 30,000 new programs are trialled every year in the UK, and that includes one-offs.
That covers every genre.
But it covers every genre, and that's an incredible amount of programs to try. And so some of them stick, and I think that's a fantastic thing, and I don't think any other nation in the world does that.
There's a very interesting point there about the creative fertility, because if you go to America with an idea, they're immediately looking to see which idea it is like. It gives them comfort if it is similar to an idea that's already worked. If you go into a British channel with an idea the same as the one that got on, they'll say, well, why would we want that? Haven't you got an original idea? It's a completely different take on what is required on television. And I think this point is probably the most important point. How do you nurture and enhance creative fertility is the key issue. And it's exploded over the last 10 years. And you have to give some congratulations to British governments. I say British governments, both governments we've had in the last 15 years, because they established a copyright regime, what we call a rights regime, which is a kind of partnership between the producer and the broadcaster, which has motivated the producer to get the shows out around the world. And we have taken that opportunity, and we're now exporting over half the formats.
Very good. Well, look, thank you all very much for coming and telling us about your hit formats. Very good luck with your hit formats next year, which you're clearly determined to create, get on air, and export. And please give them a round of applause. Thank you.